My name is Bodybuilder James Howard. I'm 44 years of age. I am an NPC competitor. I grew up with an affinity towards superheroes because my early years, I was an only child. My grandparents raised me. I had nothing to do with my mother or my father, and my grandparents kind of lived on a little small farm. It was an isolated area. Basically, the only thing I really had were books, imaginary characters. I just took on this incredible affinity for superheroes. As a kid, you go through so many things where you're afraid of the world, you're afraid of the people in it, you're afraid of, the things in the closet that go bump in the night. And if you really don't have anyone to talk to, it's a pretty scary place to be. These guys kind of filled that void for me. They were there in the darkness, and they were there during the times when I needed someone to talk to. And as I grew up, those things kind of stuck with me. And I started to watch individuals like strongmen guys. They go, they work out, and they come back bigger, and no one kicks sand on them again. That was one of my big things. And so eventually what the catalyst that drove me into the weights, actually into working out, was I was coming home from school, and I remember the day vividly. I was walking home. These trails led everywhere where we lived. And so I was taking one of these trails home, and I come across, I hear this dog, this yelping, yelp. And I come across a group of individuals that are older boys. They were trying to place an M80, which is a small firecracker. They were trying to force it into the dog's rectum. I told them to stop. They didn't stop. And I kind of just freaked out, and I ran at these guys. I just started swinging. Yes, I was beat up pretty badly. They held me down and punched my face, and they were holding me down. And they wanted me to submit, and I wouldn't do it, so he kept punching me. One of those things. The dog got away, and I took the beating. When I got home, my grandfather was really stoic. He's just like, I don't want to hear what happened. Take your clothes off. He said, don't come in the house snitching on nobody. Go. I felt weak. I felt like I didn't measure up. You believe you can do anything, and you see yourself doing everything. But in actuality, all right, things are a lot tougher than they may appear. And so when you run into that eventuality, sometimes it defines your character on what you do next. I'd open up my comic book and I'd look at the character, and I'd envision my arms being like his, and I would grab those and I'd work out, and I could see these guys that were beating me up and see me tossing them, and it was just my way of us building armor. I thought that the bigger I was, the more protected I was, and I guess it just blew up into a bigger passion. And I know exactly the point when that happened also. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the father of Saul, he released a movie called Commando. It was incredible. For the first time in my life, I saw an individual who epitomized all of these ideals. It was wrapped in. It was a human being. It was living. It was flesh. It just clicked. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be like him. I want to look like that. That always stuck with me. And so we always put working out before everything. People would say, man, you ready to go out? No, we got to go to the gym. We'll see you guys afterwards, though. Or do you want to go to our girlfriends would be like, let's go to the movies. We got to go work out. You guys go to the movies. But, so it was always, we enjoyed working out more than anything else. And it was just, I guess it was natural. It was just a natural fit for me. After that, I kind of ran into some trouble. I got involved in the high life, I got involved in drugs, and I got involved with alcohol. It was correlated with my work. I kind of got drawn into the atmosphere. I made a lot of bad choices during that time in my life. I wound up paying for them with 10 years in prison. A lot of racism was involved in it at particular points in time. I had a tendency for going places I wasn't supposed to go to. I'd come downtown in Athens area and hang out in the bars, and eventually girls would talk to me or whatever, and it would always start because of a girl or something. And a group of guys would either nigger, get out of here, what are you doing, or something. I'm like going, what? You really can't fault a whole race of people for one person's ignorance. My grandmother was terrified because she grew up during an era where people were hung. She would tell me stories about the racism and where she grew up. She told me a story in particular about when she was going to school. I was horse and buggy, and there was a thing called a nigger tree. And a nigger tree was a tree that I guess a vigilante squad had hung a bunch of black people in. And during this time, it was almost like it was something common for her to describe. She told me this story. She was afraid that I was going to be on one of those trees. It was something that you couldn't get away from. Me and a group of individuals got into an argument over drugs. I had given someone a large amount of money, and they actually just took it. And so it just started a chain of events that happened, fist fights and things, and then it just exploded in a situation that caused a bunch of people to lose their lives in tragic ways. not deaths, so to speak. And I was at a level 5 camp, which is one of the highest securities that you could get in the state of Georgia without going to a Supermax facility. What happened was I refused to testify against the individuals. They offered me a 2 years time served deal, no time. So they just took the deal and they gave it to one of my co-defendants who agreed to testify. He said I paid it to do what happened. After that, the judge threw the book at me. He gave me a 10-year sentence. It's different, a lot different. I wouldn't wish prison on anyone. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. My worst enemy. It's like a wolf sitting on a ledge. He has nothing else to grasp onto. And it's a survival instinct, you know what I mean? Because either you succumb to the darkness or you fight back. You try to find a way to fight back. So me latching on to the ways and to the mindset of a hero or the mindset of what we considered modern day heroes was just a natural thing. It was the only road I had left. Before I went to prison, I took steroids for quite a while, almost 3 years. They were a factor in that entire situation with the narcotics and everything else. It was just too much. It was too much for anybody. You know? I haven't taken steroids after going to prison. The body is one of the most complex mechanisms that the universe has in store for us. The work that I did before, even in my youth, when I was 24, is still locked inside of these muscles. I'm a competitor, all right? So for me, looking at, say, an item like steroids or creatine or any other supplement that an athlete might take to enhance his performance, I could care less, simply because I'm doing the best I can to be the best that I can. There, it's about that competition. It's about if I win and lose, I will not be the person screaming about this guy or whatever advantages that I may imagine that he may have had. If I lost, it would be because I didn't do my best. I lost focus somewhere. And most people don't like to admit these things. Most people don't like to say, oh, he was actually better than me. It's about hard work. It's about discipline. It's about sacrifice. Roids, if anyone had any questions, roids may play 5%, a 10% role in any of this. It's not something that your amateur bodybuilder should even consider taking. I just intend to do my work, to show up and be the best that I can be. That's my job. That's the only job that I have. If I wanted anybody to take something from this, I want other people to understand that they can overcome anything. They shouldn't allow the world to define them, and even if they make mistakes, they need to pick themselves up, accept responsibility for whatever it was, and just move forward. Life's all about one conflict after another. It's more about being prepared to overcome these conflicts than anything else. I think people who pray for an easy life they delude themselves, because I'd want to have a hard life so I can handle life as it is. I've been to the bottom. I've slept on concrete. I've slept on silk sheets. You know, yesterday I talked about the 6 degrees between individuals. How even when I walk down the streets and I see a homeless person or someone like that, I never judge them harshly, simply because I understand that I'm only 6 degrees away from that person. I'd want them to take that. I'd want them to take that they could do anything, that they could overcome anything, and not to be defined by what people think about them. Who cares? I mean, if you want to grow and you want to be 500 pounds full of muscle, do it. If you want to not eat meat, do it. If you want to be a Republican, be it. Whatever this thing is you want to do, just do it. Just do it. That's what I want them to take.